Alright, Mr. Invader. Appreciate your patience, brother. We got you all sewed up here, man. I'm just going to do one video for both amplifiers. I got your fan mounted on here for you. When doing these things, man, sometimes it's hard to get them exactly perfectly centered and everything, the way they kind of move around you, because these screws are wedging the fan perfectly in place, and they get to moving on you and stuff, and you don't want to break the fan, but it don't really matter. Some people like to kind of mount them on one end so that all the air flows out one direction. I kind of like doing it as close to the middle as possible. But there you go, man. Got the coming into the back like we talked about, and you wanted a switch for the fan so you could leave the fan on after the box is off, I believe. And since this box is going to be, you know, the way it's orientated, you press the switch down, which would be up facing the other direction, to turn the fan on. Okay. You said you wanted to go with a red LED fan. These are high-speed Yatloon fans, which they do not make no more. I'm going to try to buy every goddamn one I can find. They're the fastest LED fan I have found to date. Even faster than some of them thermal takes too, man, that I've seen out there. So you got red matching everything. So it's just, we ain't gonna be doing no really max outputs and all that. Really ain't really no need. But this is just a 4-watt radio, 4 watts RMS, my bench radio. I think I've got this meter on peak. This is just driving about 18 to 20 watts peak into it. Right there at 450 watts, you're looking at the bottom scale. So that's 450 watts, man, just driving a small single final bench radio in that cotton jobber. About 150 RMS just with that amount of drive. And that is on 14.4 volts too. My dang voltmeter over there, the battery's died in it. That's some of that rigging up stuff on that supply over there for the voltmeter. Alright, I am going to demonstrate the sideband delay cap, because that was one of your biggest things. And as I explained on the phone with you, both of your amplifiers are working on sideband just fine. But just to be safe, just to make you feel better, me feel better, I went ahead and put new delay caps in there. So let me go ahead and show you. You wanted me to do my little normal thing I do to these Palomars. So that's what I did. There's pretty much all the parts that came out of it right there. So I went ahead and did a full cleaning job in here, and cleaned all the flux out of it for you and got it looking beautiful. I took the trimmer out down here. See if I can get a little bit more light. So I took the trimmer. Where's that trimmer at? Oh, there it is. I took the trimmer out. I don't really like leaving trimmers in if I can help it. You know, people can get in there and start turning stuff, and your box is out of tune. Plus, they can go out on you, especially that small trimmer. This is probably a 250 volt trimmer, possibly. And somebody can get in here and drive some power in here and blow that thing. But I went ahead and mic'd in your trimmer. That's what these two capacitors are down there. I mic'd in your trimmer for you. That's your input tune. Went ahead and added feedback circuits like I always do. These boxes don't come with feedback circuits. I have absolutely no idea why. Let me catch this phone call real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. So I got all the feedback circuits installed. I always like to zoom in a little bit. I always like to take the 100 picofarad caps out, and make the leads a lot longer. I don't know why they put them in here like that. It's like they just pull them out of their part being and soldered in. You want these lead lengths as short as possible. Short as possible. You can have parasitic resistance, parasitic capacitance due to all these lead lengths that can be picking up like an antenna. So went ahead and done that, and also I repositioned these two 10 ohms and shortened their lengths too, because these two were fine on the ends here, but these two were quite long, so I shortened the lead lengths of them as well. Next thing I did is I took these tiny little bitty chokes off delivering the power to the output transformers here, and put some good stiff 14 gauge in here, man. And you've got more inductance also on the power now than just with the 1 through on those chokes. So you've got more inductance to keep that rip off that power wire. Went ahead and replaced back here, took the 560 picofarad caps out and dropped 1000s in. That boosts the electromagnetic field just a tad bit. It's all got to do with the impedance transformation there. It helps a little bit, which then boosts the electromagnetic field a tad bit. You know, you can have too much or you can have too small, or you can kind of have right there perfect. But anyway, it seems to help with these boxes. That's what I always use with this type of design with my own personal builds. And I went ahead and stiffened up the solder on this hot bus. You know, you're dealing with something paper thin, and I like to just make it thicker. You know, this thing probably can handle, you know, 40-50 more amps now than it did just thickening the solder up on the whole hot bus. So then got your fan back here. Sorry about that, my phone died. I'll tell you what, it's a little challenge to make it through this video. So anyway, there's your new delay cap right there that I installed for you. And there she is, man. Like you said, all gatekeepered up. Nice and clean, man. Everything's looking great. I tell you, man, if you get a chance, take a look at Texas Star 250 fan kit video I got. If you would just simply get you some L brackets, 4 of them total, and literally just mount 1 L bracket per each side. It'll stand this up just a little bit, just enough off so you can get air to that fan, man. You better leave it sitting up straight like that. Alright, I'm going to hook up my sideband radio right here just to show you that it is working on sideband. That was the main reason why you sent it here, other than to get all these mods done to it. Alright. Alrighty, I got my Superstar right here. Make sure it's on sideband. Turn that off. Audio. Alright, we're on sideband now. Sorry, I'm enjoying a little cig here, man. Ventilated, garage doors up. Alright, I keep the mic down as you see. Okay. Oh. Ela. 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 Just doing 500 watts real easy, just on this crappy power supply. Hey, we just talking, man. That's all we doing. Lights over here dimming and everything. Get down, get down, get down. I don't want to talk too long. Let me show you why. Got down, got down. Alright, man. That shows you that the sideband's working good now. Next thing I had to show you, this fuse that you had in here is not big enough, brother. I blew the crap out of it. I guess normally it'd be good enough as long as you driving it with a small radio and everything. But you had a 40 amp fuse in here, and I blew the crap out of it, man, when I hooked this box up on my bigger power supply over there. And I had to basically cut the fuse up and solder that to there just so I could test it and show you. So when you get back, unplug that, unplug this, and put a new fuse in it, okay? Because it pulled more than 40 amps, I'll tell you that. It was rocking and rolling. I would put at least a 60 amp fuse in there if you want to put a fuse in it. At least a 60 amp fuse. Because 40, you know, that's just 10 amps of transistor. Plus, this thing is AB biased, okay? So it's going to pull a little bit more current. So, yeah, instead of me unsoldering the wire and soldering a new wire and doing all that mess, I just made a quick solution so I could at least show you, the box operating. But yeah, do not run it like this, man, because just testing this thing, this right here got warm. So yeah, heck, if you ever want to, man, you can put some thicker power wires in here too. I think this is like 10 gauge. You put you some 8 gauge in here if you want to. It definitely won't hurt. But other than that, it's fine. But yeah, I'm glad I remembered that and want to show that to you. So either put a 40 amp fuse back in there, and just, that 40 amp fuse will be fine if you're just running small, radio with it or something like that. But I had it hooked up to the big supply and was driving this in it on sideband. This is putting, a little bit of power into it. So there you go. All right, let me press pause and go get you other radio over here. Other amplifier, excuse me. All right, brother. Here is your 600. I recorded another video, but I don't know if I'm gonna add it to it because it's real long, and I've really covered everything so far I did to cover in that video. So I'll go ahead and explain right now. You asked for the green LED switch out, okay, so that's what I did for you. Now let me explain this. The most proper 100% way of doing this is removing the front, unsoldering all the wires from the board, okay, and actually removing this whole circuit board you see right here from the 3 switches. And you're talking about a little bit of labor to do all that because the way these switches are soldered in here. Plus, you put an extra heat on those switches just to get them, hot enough to unplug from it. It's a lot of unwanted trouble you shouldn't really have to go through, but it's the way they got these set up. But over the years, I've learned a little trick of doing that without having to do that, basically. And it still takes a little bit of time to do it, but basically removing these LEDs from in between here and just bending them just right and getting them into place and soldering them. And but I think, as I mentioned before, the trace has been burnt on here before. I think your older technician, the poor fellow that passed away, Onya, had replaced that trace with this wire right here you see. And it looks like that he may even possibly have replaced one of the switches before or something. The reason I say that because the way this is bowed a little bit. But anyway, while I was doing this, I always remove this one first and then remove the next 2 and then put in the 2 down here and this one in last. Well, I had this one over here and this one right here hooked up, and I already had this one hooked up, but was working on getting the lead into the circuit board, because you got to suck all the solder out there so you can stick the lead through. And by God, if this thing didn't flex just a little bit forward and pulled the back out of the damn switch. Look at that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm sitting there thinking, there's another 30-40 minutes of labor. But luckily I had 1 switch left in my part drawer, which is this one right here. So you got you a new power switch. Okay. So So you got your new power switch, and from the way it looked, this switch was getting a little weak, because these switches will get weak on you. The way that you can tell is when you flip this switch on, there's a little bit of flip to it. It's kind of, you know, a little bit of hardness to it when you flip it. But like when you go over to this one, it's not a whole lot of hard. It does it just a little easier. And when they get easier to switch like that, from what I've seen, they're as you switch them and switch them and switch them, they'll eventually break. Because you can look at the data sheet and see that it tells you how many times you switch it on and off pretty much before it breaks. Now this one is in real good health. The high, low, medium, that's in real good health. I know you're not going to be switching this one on and off a whole lot of times, you know, while you have it, just whenever you're using your preamp. But the power switch, you're going to be using the most. So you got you a brand new power switch, and I'm not charging you for that either, because that was something that happened while I used it, while I was working on it, I mean. So basically, there's nothing new inside here. This is one I already done for you, and you got it and said it was having some keying issues, which now we know it seemed like it was just something freaky going on over there with your radio, or something weird going on, because when I got it back, it's working just fine on sideband, etc. Everything's working good. So I put you a new sideband cap in here, put you one of them expensive caps in this one, man, since I had a little bit of room back here. This cap right here should last you for the rest of this amp's life. This is a heavy-duty, expensive capacitor. So here's your switch that you asked for the fans. Current limiting resistor for them. I'm going to send this resistor with you. Basically, if you feel like you want to slow these fans down a little bit, they're a little bit too loud for you, which I don't think they are going to be, but I'll turn it on again when I flip the box over. But just in case you do want to lower the speed on the fans, you can basically just unsolder this resistor to wait. I gotta hurry up. This battery is about done for. Alright, so here's your fans, big brother. Looks great, man. I think I was explaining to you, I'm going to send this resistor with you just in case you want to speed them, lower the speed just a tad bit. And if you want them at the absolute full max speed, as long as you ain't going to be running anything above 14.5, 15 volts at the most, you could even remove that resistor in there if you wanted to. But right now, this is sitting on 14.5 volts. Right there, these right here are sitting on, I think it's right at 13.8. So I mean, it's a perfect current limiting resistor. So got your switch back there, got the fans hooked up there. This thing's still working just like it was when it left. We just got the bench radio hooked up, man. Got it on peak for you over here. 600 watts, man. I mean, I still say this is the best 600 I've had come through here, bar none. The way it works, this works the best I think I've ever had one here. 200 bird, just like that. 200 bird, just with a bench radio, 4-watts drive. 200 bird, man. So there she be. Just I'm gonna press pause. Well, I'm gonna just get this radio down. Just want to prove to you that the SSB delay is working. Let me see if I can't get this hooked up real quick before the battery dies again. And I'm so frustrated with this thing. If it does die, just please trust me, it works. The sideband. Alright, transmitter. Like I said, this is a pretty strong radio, so I'm just going to kind of key you real quick with this. Let me turn these fans off and turn the supply off so I can turn the amp upside down so you can see the relay switches. So I really don't want to stay on the key with this long at all, because this radio is a little bit too powerful. It's too powerful radio for this amp, really. That's why I'm gonna switch over here and turn it on low. power on. Let me turn this off. Oh, alright. Well, there's the relay. Here's the mic. Sideband radio. See? Key down. Nothing. Relay does not key till I start talking. Oh, what's up, man? Even on low, this thing's doing 500 watts. Just with this radio hitting it. This radio is quite strong, man. That's 500 watts on low. Well, there you see it. Talking. Do you see my lights dimming in the video? Oh yeah. That's because on sideband, man. I tell you, amplifiers pull the absolute most amperage on sideband. I'm sure